I thank the universal truth and the absolute laws of nature for guiding me, protecting me, and giving me the strength to endure the imperfect. I shall attack with vigor, making progressive moves. A divine mind knows, a divine mind shows. All things work in divine order. All things work in divine order. All things work in divine order. Peace and power. Salute, salute, salute. Welcome to the Saturday Night Book Club. Welcome to the Saturday Night Book Club. Peace and power. What's good? What's going on? Peace, Rick. As you come into the space, please let the tribe know we in here. If you got your notification, make sure you send it out to the tribe. Make sure you send it out to the tribe. Be gracious. Be wonderful. Be sharing. You dig? Let them know that we in the building. Let them know that it's Saturday Night Book Club. Everybody get your books. You know we don't play. We don't play here. We've had a long week. We've had a very long week. And as you can see, if you're over here on the East Coast, you see the clock, you see the time. I had a very, very long couple of days. You know, it's that time for these seniors to be going out and about and, you know, visiting these colleges and, you know, getting prepared for next year, making an attempt to find out which campus is a good fit for them. So my 17-year-old, we have to travel, you know, 2 hours, 3 hours away, visit the campus, get back, you know the whole thing. So, you know, pardon me for being a little later than usual. Thanks to everybody. Well, thanks to everybody who is joining us right now. Peace, T. And as y'all come in, make sure y'all definitely wish our moderator, our tribe comrade, Tierra Green, she just celebrated her born day yesterday, right? So y'all give her born day greetings, her born day shouts. You dig? One of our most committed comrades. You know, she getting up there. Oh yeah, she getting up there. She ain't up there with us quite yet. But she getting up there. She's marinating, you know. Definitely. Yes, give her born day wishes. You dig? That's what you do. All right? Yes, happy life day. Slaughter, what up? You ain't been in the spotty spot in a minute. You dig? CC, what's good? Yes, y'all give her born day shouts. You dig? And let's have it. Hey, Big Foe, peace, what up? What up, what up? You dig? Oh, yeah. Man, all y'all women be marinating. Y'all cut it out. I know what's going on. I'll be in these streets. We ain't built enough soldiers to, you know, meet the requirements. So, you know, y'all sitting and marinating. That's okay. The big comrade understands. You know, we'll get that aspect right. You dig? So, let's get down to business. Had a long week. A lot of truth's been revealed. A lot of people got parked. A lot of people been sat on their back pockets. A lot of people, as Jay said, have been humbled. You understand? And as I've been saying all along, that we're at war. This is a mental war. This is a spiritual war. This is a physical war. It's an economic war. And the longer it takes for people to become aware of that, the more casualties we will accumulate. It's just that simple. And in those truths that have been revealed this week, I feel very vindicated because these are things that I've been expressing not only, excuse me, not only to the tribe, but to whoever listens in this global internet space that we sit in. Been saying this a long, long time, that you or the powers that be cannot remain idle, and the false narratives, right, the flat out lies and the untruths, as long as people sit in that pocket, when the actual realities begin to show, it's only going to awaken, right, those who are deaf, dumb, and blind. It's just simple math and science. And as those truths get revealed, everybody, excuse me, everybody will have to sit in a space where they're going to have to choose either positive or negative, either progressive or regressive, either left or right, either wrong or right. You understand? Give me a second. Y'all here? Hold up, y'all. Hey, Kelly. Yeah, I had to run outside real quick. Y'all know nobody knows where I live, so if somebody is coming, that means they're really a comrade, and I had to get to it, so pardon me. And I can't take coughing in front of y'all, so I gotta make sure I got a drop or two. All right. Yes. Tyler, who else in here? Everybody is in here. Let's go. Make sure y'all sharing, letting everybody know we here. All right. So again, let's get to it. And Kelly, you gonna start posting them pictures? My goodness. Whew. The things. Hey, Lady K, where you been? Sweet, sweet Jesus. Wretched of the Earth, page 74. As I said, many truths been revealed this week. And as we go through our books, like I always say, our books are our medication. They are meds for here. You know? That's a, and women are queen comrades. No matter if you got a black plastic bag on, fully clothed or not. People would still see all of that beauty. You have to specify. Y'all always decoding something. Ain't nobody said anything about whether they was or they wasn't. There y'all go. There y'all go. All right, so let's get ready. Y'all already off track. We not doing that tonight, cause again, I've been on the road. I'm trying to give y'all dose, give y'all fill, you know. You dig? Miss Math, man, this should have been a woman up, cause this all queen comrades up in the spot. What's going on? Where the fellas at? What's on tonight? College football? The comrades, the men, y'all mess with college football like that? That y'all not in the building? All the women up in the spot? I should have made this woman's up. We should throw book club to the side. Like, really? My goodness. Jake Paul versus Silver. Come on, that's two old dudes. Rick is in the spotty spot. Look, sisters, look, see? Y'all, I know y'all not gonna make me change the title to this. I'm telling you. We got 41 in the building. Y'all gonna make me change the title. We gonna have a woman up tonight. That don't make any sense. Who celebrate? Come on now. Yeah, Big Ma, but you still doing runs, so you can't pay attention like that. You still on the road delivering and all that. I already know what time it is. Y'all crazy right now. Yeah, we're early. Boom. Baseball? Who watching baseball? Knows 144? Y'all didn't just see, what's the manager name? Said this is the, I believe he said this is the first World Series that has no Black Americans, African Americans in it, which shows the disparity in the sport. That everybody in the World Series is from a different background, whether they're all Dominican, Anglo-Saxon, Puerto Rican, or somewhere else. I forgot his name. It was one of them black managers. I read that today. You know? So, if you ain't watching baseball, they ain't coming to book club, because I see all the women up in the spot. They here. We gonna mess around. It's gonna be women's up from now on. Like, what's really good? On baseball players, the highest paid athletes? No. Because you gotta take into account they play more games. Right? So if a baseball player is making $100 million per season, well, $100 million over the course of 2 or 3 seasons, and a football player is making $100 million over 2 or 3 seasons, but the football player is only playing 16, 17 games, he's actually making more than the baseball player. Remember, baseball players, they some of them teams play 120 games. Plus, you know, the wild cards in the World Series and all that. It's a lot of games. They earn and they damn keep. You know? So, no. You understand? Could look at it like that. You know? The shorter the season, the less wear and tear on the body, the less traveling, the less being away from home. Baseball players, man, that shit lasts a long time. Understand? So let's get to it. We 20 minutes in. We're gonna do what we do, but I'm telling you, Queens, I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna hit it, uncut it, because we look like we might have to do a woman up tonight. I don't know. Queen D, you at work? You at work and tuning in? You at work? You risking getting chastised by a supervisor because you want to see this brown-skinned man? You better get to work, woman. And T, for a birthday present. All right, T, I got you. Let me get started here. You know, ooh, just for me, girl. Ooh, talk that talk. You better watch it. Yes, Ma, page 74. Let's get in. As far as their internal situation is concerned, the colonialist countries find themselves faced with contradictions in the form of working class demands which necessitate the use of their police forces. All right? As well, in the present international situation, these countries need their troops to protect their regimes. Finally, there is the well-known myth of liberating movements directed from Moscow. In the regime's panic-stricken reasoning, this signifies if that goes on, there is a risk that the communists will turn the troubles to account and infiltrate into these parts. Now, when we look back in recent history, and if you were of a particular age, the communism was being deemed the #1 enemy. That's all you ever heard in capitalist societies, quote unquote democratic societies, that any up evil or any person or group who encourage self-thinking, right, and gathering and grouping and unionizing have been influenced by communist doctrine. And that was deemed evil. That was deemed the enemy. You know, it wasn't no terrorist, whether homegrown or from overseas. Communism, the theory, the thinking of that specific way of life was the number one enemy to what was going on in what they want to call developed nations, right? So anything that they notice, just like now, when you see anyone who exercises free thought and their ability to speak without fear, boom, automatically attacked. That is what they did. And instead of calling you a rapper, instead of calling you a nigger, they called you communist. You dig? Exactly. McCarthy trials, exactly. And many of our black entertainers were deemed as such. That's how the FBI was able to put cases on them and follow them and investigate them. People like Eartha Kitt, Paul Robeson. You understand? We're going from that far back. Aretha Franklin. You dig? They were thought of being under a communist influence. And they did that because they would not believe or allow themselves to believe that people who were once enslaved can have the free thought and can conceptualize in their mind being away from master, coming up out of those different systems on their own. They had to say, no, they're a communist influence because our niggas wouldn't move like that. They wouldn't think like that. And that went on globally. In the native's eagerness, the fact that he openly brandishes the threat of violence proves that he is conscious of the unusual character of the contemporary situation, right? And that he means to profit by it. But still on the level of immediate experience, the native who has seen the modern world penetrate into the furthermost corners of the brush is most accurately aware of all the things he does not possess. The masses, by a sort of, if we may say so, childlike process of reasoning, convince themselves that they have been robbed of all these things. All right? Reparations, okay? Affirmative action, right? The mind, once you believe that you're seeing something valuable and you can't attain it because it's overpriced or because there's a prestigious element around it and you can't have it, start to believe that you're missing out on something, right? Technology, right? Things like from Model T Ford cars to the contemporary cars that they were seeing, the Volkswagens, the big Cadillacs, right? Things like televisions and phones and Walkmans, VCR, you know, every few years something else comes out and have you dazzled, thinking that, wow, I wish I could have that. Right? Remember the big first block cell phones, the shit like this you put into your ear. Hello, hello, hello. And you're like, oh, look at the man in the suit on Wall Street with the hello, hello. then the drug dealer getting the big ass shit, and you're thinking that you're missing out on something. So now the conscious mind plays tricks. Like I said, the native, when they're saying the native and the brush, they're actually talking about these other lands where they didn't have these big metropolis cities, right? They were still literally in and on their indigenous lands. So outside of the brush where it was developed, they're looking at these things in wonderment. You understand? That is why in certain underdeveloped countries, the masses forge ahead very quickly and realize 2 or 3 years after independence that they had been frustrated, that it wasn't worthwhile fighting, and that nothing could really change. In 1789, after the bourgeois revolution, the smallest French peasants benefited substantially from the upheaval. But it is a commonplace to observe and to say that in the majority of cases, for 95% of the population of underdeveloped countries, independence brings no immediate change. The enlightened observer takes note of the existence of a kind of masked discontent, like the smoking ashes of a burnt down house after the fire has been put out, which still threaten to burst into flames again. So we have to, that he's giving you a picture through this language of how it works and how it doesn't work, right? Because it's like how we watch certain slave movies, right? How we watch Django, how we watched what was the other joint? The Nat Turner joint, right? Or even back in the days, right? Mandingo, where you will see them flip wild out and execute, do away with the slave master. Yet, what is gained? Not 12 years, the other joint. Birth of a Nation, right? And this is how the battle and how the phenomena works. People have a romanticism of what it looks like, of what it feels like to be rid of that specific enemy, of that oppressor. And it's not what many believe. So in that little space, the leadership has to continue to march on and make sure that there is somebody who is educating the masses while the masses are educating them on, right, their disappointment or on their, disillusionment, which was supposed to come from this. All right? So they say that the natives want to go too quickly. Now, let us never forget that only a very short time ago, they complained of their slowness, their laziness, and their fatalism. Already we see that violence used in specific ways at the moment of the struggle for freedom does not magically disappear. After the ceremony of trooping the national colors, it has all the less reason for disappearing since the reconstruction of the nation continues within the framework of cutthroat competition between capitalism and socialism. And we witnessed that 2 summers ago in the Minnesota riots. We watched it several years ago in the Baltimore riots. We watched it in Seattle, right? We watched it in Portland. We observed how this uptick, this upheaval of rage allowed them to move in a space where shit, they took over precincts. Literally took over. But they were stuck after that and didn't know how to proceed. There was no follow-up, right? There was no true education process in it. It was, we just witnessed something, we were traumatized, we trauma bonded, we were enraged, and we act out. And that's spontaneous. That's only for the moment. At that point, where are you going? Right? What's next? And then you understand that you're in a small pocket, that you're very tiny in this global fight, that those little battles were very small. And because the public wasn't politically educated or engaged, you sat frozen. And this is what we cannot allow to happen to future movements when it depends on us, which is why your mind has to be so sharp. Your goals have to be so clear, because if not, you end up stuck like all these other organizations that put all these other little doctrines into these real specific frameworks and haven't grown in 6 decades, 7 decades, 8 decades. No movement. And when you are truly woke, conscious, aware, and active, you know better. You know you cannot afford to do that again. Which is why these conversations, these dialogues, right, are not no longer about the initial individual, the initial act. It's gone. Right? When we was wilding out in my age group over Howard Beach, it was no longer about the incident. And it spiraled. So now you see, it's not about yay. It has spiraled into a different conversation that had more meaning and more facts being revealed. And it opens the door for different strategies. It's passing beyond him now. Others are being affected. And then the truths are coming out about our people who sided with the enemy. You see it. So when we speak on the natives, when we speak on the intellectuals, you understand? When we speak of those in this here, it comes out. And then you're able to see, because the behavior is still the same, because the institutions are being governed by the ideas of the past. The only difference now is that technology is so rapid in capturing how one moves and how others think that we have to be extra cautious, yet more determined. I get it? This competition gives an almost universal dimension to even the most localized demands. Every meeting held, every act of repression committed reverberates in the international arena. Now you dig that? The smallest shit. A rapper makes a statement, and a corporation, a company from overseas had to make the decision to take a loss. So as we watch and you say, oh, Ye lost this and that, but Adidas lost as well. From a man who is sitting here, sitting in Miami on Drink Champs. This little black man made a statement that had global impact because others are being affected, as they point out in the chat. Now they on Kyrie neck. Now, someone who was so verbally nasty to Kanye, Charlemagne, they on his neck because his shit resurfaced. Now we're watching how Norman Lear, I just posted it on my IG, a Jew, and a team of other Jews was it executive producers of the Sanford and Son show where the character Fred Sanford did his lineage, right? Back then. That show aired in 72 to 77. Back then. Looking and searching for who we are, found out that he was Jewish. King of the Jews, as Esther said. Mean. So if they allowed that to air, and Norman Lear and the rest of the writers probably wrote the script and said the black man was a Jew, what lies were told? You understand? This is the global impact when we say no to them and yes to ourselves. Everything you do has a specific energy and a vibration that moves the world. Everything you do. If I sit here and plot and think to go out in the street and do some bullshit, 85 people right now, 87 will be disappointed and crushed and will never believe anyone who appears or sounds like me ever again. You get that? But if I go out and walk perfect and upright and deal with science and math and truth, that's 87 people who are invigorated to understand that they have the potential to be greater every day. And that is impactful. And those 85 people go out and perform in the same manner. Just don't understand. You don't understand. You don't understand. You understand? Do you? Do you? 2,000 years ago, they said Jesus walked the earth, didn't write a word of the Bible. There's no receipts, nothing. Until this day, still have Christians. Muhammad, subhanahu wa ta'ala, didn't write a word of the Quran. Didn't write a word of everyday fiqh. Didn't write a word of the Sunnah. And we have Muslims that'll cut your head off in the name of jihad. So when you see one individual caused that disturbance, that ripple in so many people. Don't look at it lightly. Don't look at yourself lightly. When you stand tall and firm, you are a powerful people. You don't have no proof that Jesus walked. You don't have no proof that Muhammad walked. You got a hearsay. That shit ain't inadmissible in a court of law. But if I tell you I see the qualities in you, I can print the receipt right now. If I say that the qualities are in you, I can screenshot the qualities right now. Let's go. This competition gives an almost universal dimension to even the most localized demands. Every meeting held, every act of oppression committed reverberates in the international arena. The murders of Sharpeville shook public opinion for months. In the newspapers, over the wavelengths, and in private conversations, Sharpeville has become a symbol. It was through Sharpeville that men and women first became acquainted with the problem of apartheid in South Africa. Moreover, we cannot believe that demagoguery alone is the explanation for the sudden interest the big powers show in the petty affairs of undeveloped regions. Each jacquerie, each act of sedition in the third world makes up part of a picture framed by the Cold War. Two men are beaten up in Salisbury, and at once the whole of a block goes into action, talks about these two men, and uses the beating up incident to bring up the particular problem of Rhodesia, linking it, moreover, with the whole African question and the whole question of colonized people. And in Rhodesia, they mean Zimbabwe. That's what it is named now, right? The other block, however, is equally concerned in measuring by the magnitude of the campaign the local weaknesses of its system. Thus, the colonized people realize that neither clan remains outside local incidents. They no longer limit themselves to regional horizons, for they have caught on to the fact that they live in an atmosphere of international stress. And that is the connecting piece. That is the connecting piece. All right? The piece that they broke down is that one oppressed group here is connected by another oppressed group there, because the oppression and the idea is global. It is being done by the same hands, the same thought, the same institutions, militaries, police. You understand? So when you have somebody who comes through and tells you, you FBA, you not. You ADOS, you not. You are doing the work of your enemy, your oppressors, white supremacy. You're fragmenting and fractionizing and breaking up our people, which is why they never want to debate with people who are Pan-Africans, with people who are globalists, with people who have a different idea and strategies on how to attack it, where you want to make sure that we're grouped together. Because when it happened to George Floyd, they spazzed out in Australia, in New Zealand, in London. They spazzed out and demonstrated hard body. But if you're not, right, equipped to understand or to pull information from different nations, you're going to be stuck on stupid. But trust and believe it's a global issue, though we have to attack it locally, right? I can do my thing in Brooklyn, but take me out into some place like Phoenix. I'm done. I'm done. I don't know the terrain. I don't speak the language, right? So each of us have to have the very same mindset coming into this. We get rewarded together. We get punished together. Same shit. All right? When every 3 months or so we hear that the 6th or 7th fleet is moving towards such and such a coast, when Khrushchev threatens to come to Castro's aid with rockets, when Kennedy decides upon some desperate solution for the Laos question, the colonized person or the newly independent native has the impression that whether he wills it or not, he is being carried away into a kind of frantic cavalcade. In fact, he is marching in it already. Let us take, for example, the case of the governments of recently liberated countries. The men at the head of affairs spend 2/3 of their time in watching the approaches and trying to anticipate the dangers which threaten them, and the remaining 1/3 of their time in working for their country, as we see in Haiti. At the same time, they search for allies, obedient to the same dialectic. The national parties of opposition leave the paths of parliamentary behavior. They also look for allies to support them in their ruthless ventures into sedition. The atmosphere of violence, after having colored all the colonial phase, continues to dominate national life. For as we have already said, the third world is not cut off from the rest. Quite the contrary. It is the middle of the whirlpool. This is why the statesmen of underdeveloped countries keep up indefinitely the tone of aggressiveness and exasperation in their public speeches, which is the normal way ought to have disappeared. Herein also may be found the reasons for that lack of politeness, so often spoken of in connection with newly established rulers. But what is less visible is the extreme courtesy of these same rulers in their contracts with their brothers or their comrades. Discourtesy is first and foremost a manner to be used in dealings with the others, with the former colonists who come to observe and to investigate. The ex-native, too, often gets the impression that these reports are already written. The photos which illustrate the article are simply a proof that one knows what one is talking about and that one has visited the country. The report intends to verify the evidence. Everything's going badly out there since we left, right? This is how they talk once the revolution is won. Once they move and the colonizers have to leave, there's still people there, right? The reporters, right? The historians, and they're reporting back in order to make them feel good. Nah, they toe up without us. Their countries are going to fold. They have no economy. They have no national product. They not, right? And of course, these newly freed people know this. They know that, right? Frequently, reporters complain of being badly received, right? Nah, get the fuck out of here. We don't want you. You coming here to, what are you saying? What are you writing in that pad? What pictures are you taking? Of being forced to work under bad conditions and of being fenced around by indifference or hostility. All this is quite normal. The nationalist leaders know that international opinion is formed solely by the Western press. Now, when a journalist from the West asks us questions, it is seldom in order to help us. In the Algerian War, for example, even the most liberal of the French reporters never ceased to use ambiguous terms in describing our struggle. When we reproached them for this, they replied in all good faith that they were being objective. For the native, objectively is always, right, directed against him. We may in the same excuse me, way come to understand the new tone which swamped international diplomacy at the United Nations General Assembly in September 1960. The representatives of the colonial countries were aggressive and violent and carried things to extremes. But the colonial peoples did not find that they exaggerated. The radicalism of the African spokesman brought the abscess to a head and showed up inadmissible nature of the veto and of the dialogue between the great powers, and above all, the tiny role reserved for the third world. So you see how important it is to learn how to articulate yourself in these spaces utilizing their language. Either you do it like that or remain hostile and be deemed what did 45 call them, right? You had a specific term for North Korea, right? Russia. You had a term for them. And that's what they do, which is why, again, when we're dealing with how they move in their contracts, whether it's the entertainment industry, sports and athletics, corporate America. Why you have to have 2 and 3 lawyers and then another lawyer to watch the 2 and 3 lawyers? Because their language is not meant for you. Though you may read it, when it's time for them to interpret and give definition to it, it shifts. So you can code switch all day. You can pass all day. You can be, I'm not black, I'm OJ, all day. It does not determine how they're going to treat you, right? Still nigga. So at what point, right, are we supposed to still adhere to their policies? The only thing that keeps their policies in effect, the only thing that keeps their policies, right, in order and in charge is because they have the subsequent threat of force behind them. And this is something that the new free colonized nations understand. So they are always viewed as being hostile in their speech, right? And you have to go back and look at some of these meetings now. These things are on YouTube. Go back and look at some of these UN conferences. Go back and start looking at footage of Idi Amin, of early Muammar Gaddafi, of early, right, Yasser Arafat, of early Che and Castro. You can see it. You can look at it. Listen to the tone. Watch the body language. And then come current and go to there's someone has sent me a Jewish news station reporting on the Kanye incident, and the language that she was using in it, it was so foul. And saying, damn, this, y'all really believe this? Like, y'all believe that we are beneath you to that degree. Which, again, you have to look at it and say, oh, this ain't about that dude. He was a catalyst and opened the window for you to stick your head and look inside. Yo, hold up. Because there's no difference in how they're treating him and what you would receive the minute you are not in agreement, the minute you don't move and get with them, the minute you are a self-thinker. That's what it is. Like, hold up. The language was mean. I got to take a clip of it and either put it here or on my IG or Facebook. Because you could just hear it. And how she was edging it and going hard and saying that just by him saying what he said, that their people would be physically attacked with violence and how much danger. Yo, it's just, listen, it is not even a question of where we have to move. Not one question. You have to be very proactive in our approach with each other, with how we do research, what we study, how we frame our ideas. No question. specifically. And again, I'm calling for, as I did days ago, this ain't new for me. Now you see the language switch. When I told you initially, I stand with Ye. I told y'all that. Now everybody wants to stand with him as well. Fuck took y'all so long? Understand? Understand? Like I said, it ain't about everything else. But that point right there, I told y'all, that point right there was going to spark something different. It was going to spark something different. And it has. So now we have to step up. Strategy. First strategies. Any company or corporation that distance themselves from him, that shut him down, that's what we supposed to do. We supposed to follow suit and shut them down. Now, there's reports that Goodwill's not accepting anything from Goodwill? Really? Fuck Goodwill. Fuck Disney. Fuck Adidas. That talent agency. And everybody else. So that's the strategy. That's what we do. Every time somebody shows face and go against him, because that's just an idea, then that's who we go against. Simple as that. And it doesn't take much to go against them. Don't patronize them. Make sure you receive no emails from them. No coupons. No nothing. We don't rock with you. Simple as that. We don't rock with those who don't rock with Ye. Exactly, Miss Matthews. He did. Jesse Owens did save Adidas. Yeah. Yeah. And remember, he embarrassed Hitler. Right there. And everybody else started wearing it, right? After him, then Ali. After Ali, Run DMC. Yeah, that's actual facts. Documented. So they shouldn't even have been with them from the rip. But as he said, I rocked with them because I was not able to do it with Nike. They wanted to stymie my voice, my message, my thoughts. Come on now. Come on. That's what it is. So, again, there's strategies. There's a mental space that we need to be in fighting this war. So, as I always say, don't believe in me. Believe in my belief in you. You dig? We're going to win. Remain disciplined. Remain on point. Love yourself. Be safe. Be safe. Keep your eyes open and build our tribe. Peace.